Good evening. Nice to see you all. Lovely to see you all. I'm going to wait a few more minutes because we're a few minutes early still before I begin. And begin the meditation in a couple minutes. Just before getting on the call tonight, I just heard news of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing. And for me, that's a really big impact. So I'm noticing the sadness that I feel. It's almost like, just sometimes these things land really hard. So I'm with that impact. And I think during these times, we are all in situations where different things are landing for us. Different impacts are landing. And so we have an opportunity with the meditation to notice what we notice and allow our attention to ground and collect, not as a way to avoid, but as a way to get underneath and to release what's going on. Welcome. Welcome, Michael. Nice to see you, Tia. Happy you're here, Rubrin. Bruce, I'm happy that you're here. Ingrid, it's lovely that you're here. Jane, nice to have you. Okay, well, there may be more people joining, but let's just begin. And this time what I'd like to do is to invite humming as a way of, it's another mechanism that just helps our nervous system settle, helps our attention turn to our body, and releases tension in a gentle way. So you can hum in any way that feels comfortable for you. I'm just going to do a little bit of humming myself and join in as feels easeful. Okay. And if you'd like now to just allow your attention to gather and to allow your body to find a position that is upright. And as you let your attention come to your body, just allow your muscles to relax in your shoulders and your back. Notice your weight. Notice the space that you occupy. And just get an overall reading of the level of tension or the level of ease that's in your physical body, without needing to change it or make it different. Just noticing, inviting it to reveal itself. Now, sitting here, just imagine somebody that you respect and care for very much is there in front of you. It might be a member of your family, an elder, a mentor. And if nobody comes to mind, think of something that you feel a great deal of affection for. It might be a pet, or it might be somebody that you haven't met, but is in your mind. And in your imagination, bring them in front of you. And just imagine what it would be like to have them looking at you with just a great deal of tenderness and affection, deeply delighted to see you, to see you well, see you here, and to be together. And as you are looking at them, looking at you, just let in that care and kindness, that joy. let it in and let it wash through your body and help support you to relax your muscles. Let it fill up your heart and your moods and your mind states so that you begin to feel this quality of care and kindness filling you up. And as you are allowing this kindness and care to fill you up, you can then allow the image to soften and just stay with that feeling, the sense of care, of kindness, of your body being enveloped in kindness and supported to relax. Now, some people are more inclined towards feeling. Some people are more in kinesthetic. Others are more cognitive. And what's important is just to know what is your easy access. And so if you're cognitive, if that's the easy access for you, then sometimes what's really helpful is to take phrases like, may I be free from fear? May I be safe? May I have my needs met? And very softly repeat them and allow the thought to wash over you. But not all of us are cognitive, and so repeating phrases is not always the easiest or most direct access to care, to kindness. So as you allow yourself to fill with care, with kindness, with tenderness, with friendliness, with interest, notice the places that are resistant, don't want to let it in. The tension in the body, the armoring in the heart, the beliefs in the mind. Anytime you are aware of resistance, just gently bring your attention to the resistance without asking or demanding it to be different. Just softly staying there and seeing if your presence makes any difference, allows any movement. gently continuing with this practice of allowing care and kindness and interest to fill you, to wash through you, and noticing the resistances. Staying with this practice. And if your mind wanders, if you start thinking about things that happened in the past or imagining what you need to do next, gently pause. Anchor your attention in your body and reconnect with any place where you can feel tenderness and care and kindness, friendliness. Let it expand. Now I'd like to invite you to look at another quality, which is the quality that knows that which is witnessing, that which knows sensations, that which knows thoughts, that which knows emotions, that which knows the experience of weight or sound. That witnessing quality has both a calm, observing, as well as a warm, embracing side to it. That witness is not something that you create or you fabricate. It's not something that you develop. It's just here. It's just present. It's not something that we have to do. It is something more that we are. And so when you shift your focus of attention to the warm, enveloping quality in the witness, what happens? When loving kindness is not something that you do, it's more something that you rest in, that you already are. What does that feel like? And so now there are two ways of working with loving kindness. To working with the quality of loving kindness and letting it suffuse your body, heart, and mind. And by relaxing in the enveloping, warm, embracing aspect of the witness of what knows, as a relaxation into who and what you are. Not something that you do, not something that you get, not something that you create, not something that you cultivate, but a resting into some aspect of yourself that's intrinsic, that's innate, that is present, that has always been here. And so for these next minutes of our meditation together, you're invited to stay with the loving kindness meditation that you're finding most connecting, easeful, supportive. if you notice that your attention is diffuse or wandering, just invite yourself to reconnect with loving kindness in a way that is the most easy and available for you to access. Gently shift your focus of attention and sense your body. Sense the weight of your body and the shape of your body, posture of your body. very gently open your eyes and allow your eyes to look over the screen, just scanning your room. Letting your eyes rest on something that's comforting. Just allow in that experience of comfort. And feeling your body and looking at the same time. And seeing if it's possible to sense your body, look, and still stay connected to the qualities of kindness, of care, of interest. And now, just allowing your eyes to look at the screen and notice the others who are here. Staying present to your body sensation. To your posture. To the quality of care, of kindness. So I want to shift gears and share a couple of stories. And then after the reflection, for anyone who's interested and available still, we can break into small groups and have a little bit of time for inquiry of exploring how this is true for yourself. And so this first story was in 2017 when we had the big fires in Santa Rosa. Mom and I had to evacuate, and we evacuated with her dog Lacey. And evacuations are stressful. There's an enormous amount of uncertainty, and you never know when you're evacuating or when the information you get, when it's going to change and how it's all going to work out. But Mom was staying in a Brookdale assisted living with her dog Lacey, and I was in an apartment, and she had to evacuate. So, and we had to leave the town for a while because of the way that the fires were moving. So we packed our car with some provisions and some clothes. We piled in, and we drove from Santa Rosa to, I'm not even sure where we were, but we were staying in a motel. And my mom is a trooper, she was in her late 80s, but she was a trooper, able to roll with the punches and just adapt and make do with what we had and make the best of it. We went on adventures and stuff. But what was very interesting to me was the dog Lacey. So Lacey wouldn't relieve herself. And even though we were in a place that was safe and we were all together, she wouldn't relieve herself. And it was as if her own little animal instincts of her body had gripped, and the tension was so tight inside that she couldn't let go enough just to relieve herself. And there was something about that that was very striking, because as human beings, we're used to operating with our cognitive functions, and we're used to having those being dominant. And yet there are times when the animal instincts of us are actually overriding our capacity to think clearly and make good choices. And I was speaking to a dear friend, and she just made the comment about how right it is, how wise it is to move at the speed of the animal instincts when our systems are dysregulated, to just slow down and to move quietly and softly, and just to give as much space as needed to be able to do the very simple, basic things like relieve yourself. And for Lacey, it took her more than 24 hours. And it was a very sober teaching for me that no matter what we try and do to get the outside right in terms of making it appear safe, there's the whole instinctual level that has its own rhythm and timing, and that each of us as human beings have this physical instinctual part of ourselves that it's really important to not override, to listen to, and to make space for. So the other story that I want to share is also another dog story, and that's much more recent. A couple of weeks ago, I took Kona, who's my dog Cher. I don't own her, but I share her. And Kona she's gorgeous. She's a brindled pit terrier shepherd mix, and she's super strong, and she's super loyal, and she's super tender. But she has a fixation with balls. She just loves balls, and she loves water. So I had been away in the mountains, and when I came back, the owners don't take her swimming, so I thought I would take her to the swimming place. And there's one place that I've been with her to go swimming, and that's the Albany Bulb, so that it's actually the bay, but there's a pond that's sheltered, and there's no waves, and it's also out of the wind. And so I throw the ball, and it's just so much fun to watch her, because she loves to run after the ball. And there's a couple of rocks. She does these swan dives into the water, and then she's a formidable swimmer, and she goes after the ball, she retrieves it, and she comes back. So she loves this, and I love this, and this was really good fun. And she'd been out for a while and swimming for a while, and then I threw the ball a little bit too far, so it went to the other side of the pond, and the tide was high, so there was no footway, there was no walking path for me to get over there. And she couldn't find the ball. So because of who she is and the fact that she's very loyal, when she is like on a mission to find a ball, she doesn't let go very easily. She's just determined to find the ball. So she swam and 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 couldn't find the ball. And I was getting concerned. So I had another ball in my pocket, which I've learned. When I go with Kona, I take another ball, and I threw the second ball over to where the first ball was. And she found both balls, but by that point, she was so tired and disoriented. She was out of kilter. So she took both balls and she put them on the far side, which I couldn't get to because of the way the water. She came back into the water and started swimming in circles looking for the ball. And nothing I could do could get her to release or to come or to respond. So in the end, I went in the water and got both balls and threw one across thinking she would follow it, and she didn't. And so then she got into distress and I had to go and pull her out, which itself was a bit of an ordeal. But what was fascinating to me about this is that even when I had both balls in front of her, she couldn't let go of the idea that what she wanted to do was get back in the water and look for the balls. So she had it in her mind that it was her job to get the balls and that the balls were still in the water. And even when I brought both balls out and dragged her out and showed her both of the balls, she was still trying to jump back in the water and get the balls. Now, we can say, yeah, well, that's a dog. But actually, it is such a perfect metaphor for what we sometimes do. We grab onto something and we cannot let it go, even when it's not there. The thing that we're trying to fix is actually not there anymore. And so I thought that between these two stories, there were some very interesting inquiry questions for us to contemplate. The nature of our own instincts and what happens when we get disoriented and we can't let go. So if you are wanting, what I'd like to do is to break you up into groups of two, to have some time for inquiry, to contemplate this. And so what the inquiry looks like is that one person is speaking in a monologue and the other person is just a silent, present witness. And then you switch, and then the person who was silent speaks, and then the one who was speaking listens. And so the questions are, when do you get disoriented and fixated? And what happens when you ignore the instinctual part of your nature? To talk about that. That's the first question. And then the second question is, what supports you to release and to let go? And so we can have 2 minutes each for each of these questions. And so that 2, 4, and then come back into the main hall for. So I will give you 20 minutes altogether, and that'll give you time for discussion back and forth, each question back and forth, and then a little bit of a break, and then we can come back into the main hall. Is that clear? Are there questions? Yes, please, Jane. You have to unmute yourself.
Could you please repeat the questions? I would appreciate that.
Let me type them. I hadn't typed them before. Let me type them.
Okay.
So the first one is, consider when your instinctual body needs attention. I have misspelled it. And then the second one is what supports you to release and let go.
Thank you.
And I've put them in the chat so that you can copy them and see them, and when you go into, you can bring them into the room with you. If anybody needs to leave, this is a good time to leave now, and so I can then put you into a breakout room. Okay. Going to put it here for 30 seconds, and breakout rooms close after 20 minutes. There you go. Please join your rooms, and we'll see you back here in 20 minutes. So let me unmute you all, or you can unmute yourselves. And does anyone have shares from that inquiry or things you'd like to bring forward?
Let's say Jane. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bruce?
Yeah, no, the thing that that I found interesting and actually quite hopeful was I didn't have a lot of stories about all the stress that I feel like I'm under a lot. Maybe because they're such big things, it's like these huge topics. But I thought of just a lot of things that really settle my system. And sometimes I'm just keep pushing before I go to, oh, right, go ride your bike. Oh, go sit in the garden, you know? And so it's just bringing those things that are so helpful um, up to a priority place rather than lower down on the list.
So just being able to remember them and repeat them. Settling. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Spruce. Michael, did you have something you want to share?
Well, I was going to say, Jane brought up during our breakout this idea that sometimes our instincts can betray us, kind of like your story where your dog became, you know, obsessed and fixated on this ball thing. And I came immediately, that gave me the picture of a border collie, which is kind of like describes me and the struggle I'm having slowing down and disconnecting from that do drive and appreciating my body's need for rest at this time and really all the mental noise that goes with that, you know, the self-shaming and confusion over what's the right thing to do, round and round.
So, Michael, when that image came, what happened for you? What did you notice?
Well, I felt compassion because I felt like there's a part of my nature in that border collie, and to respect that, to appreciate it, to embrace it, but also realize, is there a way I can give that border collie some kind of assurance that they still have my love and approval, even if they're not out there working it all the time, 8 hours a day, that they're still okay, and to find kind of the things that we can do that still serve that need for rest and recovery.
Thank you, Michael. Cindy, you've got to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Well, I think that I was talking with Spruce, and I think that the thing that makes me disoriented or fixated is, at this time anyway, all the things that are going on around me in the world, such as COVID, and even in my daily life, when someone starts to approach me to give me something and I want them not to get close to me. I want them to stay 6 feet away from me and just set it down and I'll come and get it. All these things that you have to worry about, and of course we've had the fires and, not being able to go outside because of the air quality, kind of made that more difficult. And the things that help me release and relax and let go is my morning meditation. I usually do about an hour of morning meditation. I try and do every morning, and staying connected, often through Zoom, with various groups. And of course, I've attended your meditations this week and last week, and my own Sangha, and so yeah, I think being connected with other people as much as possible while keeping, the social distancing, all the guidelines, staying within that.
So, Cindy, let me just ask you a question. When you feel settled in your own practice, when you feel connected with the people around you, does it shift in any way the way that you relate to the external things that you need to take care with?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it isn't that they change. I mean, it isn't that the external situations shift, but your way of relating to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's important for me in the morning because it starts my day off right. I feel good. I'm focused on the moment, what I want to do that day, and everything's okay. I'm here, I'm in my home, everything's fine, I'm well. So yeah, it's just really an anchor for me to know that, and I try to do some meditation in the evening also. It's easier for me in the morning. My mind's not as active. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Cindy, what you're saying is something that maybe many of us can relate to, that the more settled we are in ourselves, the easier it is to find the right way of being with the stuff that's going on around us, even when the stuff that's going around us has all kinds of opportunities to get fixated and dysregulated and disoriented. Our ability to stay centered is like a North Star in terms of how we can touch each of these things and manage them with the least amount of stress possible. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Sure. Tia, was that you? Yeah.
I will. I was just wondering if Jane wanted to.
Mm.
But I was, even though the other people in my group, their shares were about different things, it was super than mine were. It was super surprising to me how much theirs resonated with me. Like, yeah, that. Oh, yeah, that. And
Mm.
you know, even still, mine were like, but mine are this, and in a way that felt like uh, being an interconnection between them, and then also like just that mine and more, like with so much overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. So when I hear you say that, Tia, one of the things that I'm reflecting on is some of the, like, one of the weirdnesses about this particular time is the sense of isolation. You know, that we don't have the normal skin kindness that we're used to, and we're separated from loved ones, and it can be like it's all about me. You know, it's all about me. And so one of the values of sangha or community or sharing is, it's like, well, we're different bodies having similar experiences in some of these areas, you know. Or like I was talking with my friend Bert this morning, and he says to me, like, we're the same person, we don't even need to speak, because sometimes what we say is so similar that there's just this sense of different ways of experiencing similar things, different lenses. And how important it is to know that we're not alone, and to know that there's that these different ways of expressing can also resonate with our own experience. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, well, before we close, I want to mention next Friday I'm doing another one, meditation, storytelling, and inquiry. I'm leading the talk on the 28th at Spirit Rock, the Monday night talk. And there's a couple of weekend things. I've got a day-long retreat at Spirit Rock on the 28th. And then the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd, Eden and I are doing a weekend retreat, and all those things are on the Awakening Truth website. Good. Well, it's a pleasure to see you all. Take care. Bye for now. Oh, and what I'm not always good at remembering is that there is a way to give donations if you hadn't and you would like. The Awakening Truth website has a donation link, and those are welcome. These are challenging times for things like that. Donations are welcome. Bye for now.